Hi again. This is my third video about the Heirloom Seed Conference here in Israel. And this video I am going to talk about two speakers. One of them is a market gardener and the other one is a representative of Baker's Creek Seeds in Missouri, which was a surprise actually to those of us who attended the conference. It was wonderful. She joined us by Zoom and gave us a lot of information about how heirloom seeds are produced. But I will get to her as soon as I am finished with this speaker here. His name is Asaf Minenberg. Asaf Minenberg is a market gardener. He gardens on 1 dunam of land, that's 4 acres. He and his wife do the work, so he does part-time gardening and part-time education about gardening. He gave us a whole list of things about market gardening and especially about heirloom seeds and their importance. So I'm going to be checking my notes a lot because the list is quite long. First thing he says is that he doesn't use only heirloom seeds. He started out not using heirloom seeds at all, but he's been gradually converting to heirloom seeds. He sees their value, and he still has to earn a living, so he's gradually converting over to the heirloom seeds. The more that his business grows, the more that people get to know him, the easier it is for him to make this transition, because people have learned that there are some things that they just cannot buy elsewhere. He has some vegetables that people come to him when it's not in season, or they're just waiting for him to be able to sell them those vegetables, because after tasting the heirloom varieties and what he grows 100% organically and tries very, very hard to maintain permaculture principles, the food just tastes so much better, and it has ruined people's taste buds for supermarket produce. So the more people realizes that his produce tastes better because it's heirloom and because it's grown naturally, the more his business grows in that, the more he's transferring over to heirloom seeds. But he sees their value because, saving your own seeds means that you don't have to buy seeds from somebody else. You have them on hand year after year, and you know exactly how that plant is going to produce. You know the conditions that it grows very well in. You have familiarity with the plant. So those are two things. One, you save money. Two, you have familiarity with the plant. You know how it grows. And the third one, it tastes better because, naturally grown produce tastes so much better. Chani, who works with me here, took one of the tomatoes off of that tomato vine right there. And, I took it off the vine and I gave it straight to her and said, eat it. She popped it in her mouth expecting a regular supermarket flavor, and it literally burst in her mouth, the taste bugs, and she was like, wow. And at first I thought like she was exaggerating, making it up, but it was like, no, you could actually see that the flavor was different than tomatoes that she's used to tasting. So that's an heirloom seed flavor punch that you get. Oh, by the way, this particular tomato vine right there, that popped up all on its own. I didn't plant that. It's a volunteer tomato. You can't get any more heirloom than that, right? So what else did he say here? The flavor, the familiarity, you have independence because you're not relying on other people. So you don't have to worry about whether or not a certain seed variety is in stock. You already have it. So you buy an heirloom seed pack, you buy a few of them, you plant them out, you save the seeds, you've got them. And that unique flavor that comes from heirloom seeds and from natural gardening in general. Because you can take an heirloom seed and you could use commercial fertilizers and you know, and you can chemical it, and yeah, it'll still taste better, but it won't have that flavor burst that the natural produce has. And that uniqueness is something that you can take to market. People get used to it. They actually want it. People are tired of the everyday humdrum. They want special. They want unique. They want the food on their plate to look good. They want different. They don't want the same. They want uniqueness. And that is something that heirloom and open pollinated seeds give you. That's something that growing naturally gives you. So the tomato isn't going to be, you know, the perfectly smooth size of a baseball, you know, type tomato, but you know, it might have a ridge here, it might have a ridge there. One tomato on the plant might be really large, another tomato might not be so large, but that adds variety. It adds a certain texture to life that monoculture can't give to people, and they're looking for it. And also there's something that he mentioned, and that is that the best chefs in the world, and you know, chefs have become celebrities, right? They're like the new superstars. And they don't buy their produce from the grocery store. They don't buy their produce wholesale. They buy their produce from the local market gardens. And it's not just any local market garden. They look for the unique market gardens. They look for the flavors. They look for the appearance. They look for the colors. They look for the difference. They look for something that's going to pop out on the plate. And they look for something that's really going to make their dishes flavorful. So that's another aspect of a market garden that uses heirloom seeds, is that they can have that variety that chefs are looking for. And just in general, a market garden that operates on a natural basis without all kinds of chemical input is so much healthier for the environment. And the aroma that comes from those gardens as the wind blows by, you know, your neighbors, they smell it in such a good way that the you know, the herbs, the spices, you know, the wind blows the scent of those plants through the air. So it adds to the environment. When people come by and they see the freshness and they see the things growing, it adds. So having a local market garden is beneficial to absolutely everybody. As I am making this video, I see my French lavender is covered in these tiny, tiny little bees. They're not honeybees. There's a different type of bee. And I'm just watching them come to the flowers. Oh, they're so pretty. The camera wouldn't catch it right now, so I'm not going to turn it around, but it's so pretty. It's so nice to be distracted by these things. Anyway, getting back to the market garden, it's a really nice thing for a community to have that type of garden, to have that type, that, you know, some sort of landscape like that. It's a very wholesome feeling. And Asaf Minnenberg, you know, encourages anybody who would like to have a market garden to actually do one, and anybody who knows somebody who would like to have a market garden to please, you know, encourage them, support them in any way. And if you do have a local garden, a local market garden around you, you know, ask for the open pollinated, ask for the unique different items, and encourage those market gardeners to not only go organic, but to grow more naturally, to try and build their soil up in a way that they won't need those other store-bought amendments. The produce will taste so much better, and everybody all around will benefit from it. So that's market gardening. Rina from the Chava Adam farm in Modi'in also gave a talk on her market garden, and about the, for her it's not just a market garden. She has 4 dunams, but most of it is not used for the actual garden. She also has a center for children and teens at risk to come and volunteer and help out. She gives them something to do. She gives them a sense of purpose. And she also gives educational classes on gardening, permaculture, etc., there at the farm. And, so she was saying that, it took her many years before her market garden actually got up to the point to where it could fully support her. But that was fine that it took those many years, because now she knows her garden completely, and the profits aren't coming just from the produce, it's also coming from the classes. So, that was also important to know, that if you start a market garden, it isn't always economically satisfying for the first couple of years, but stick with it and it will be. And you can always, just like Asaf Minenberg, you can always have gardening classes on site and have people come and volunteer and create a real community effect while you're building up the economic aspect of it. So, you're a market gardener, or you want to get into market gardening, you need seeds. So, Shannon from Baker's Creek Seed Company gave us a talk also, and that was a nice surprise for me, because I'm originally from Missouri. She was from Missouri, and it was nice to have somebody speaking, and wow, I know where she's speaking from. So that was pretty good. I've heard a lot about Baker's Creek seeds from the various homesteading YouTube channels that I watch. So it was nice that Shannon came on and gave us a little bit of history about it. I'm not going to go into the history so much, other than the company was started by a 16 or 17-year-old teenager who was fairly disturbed by the fact that the seed varieties in the world, the seed catalogs, were dwindling. And, he grew up with seed catalogs that had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of seeds, but by the time he was a teenager, about 80% or 90% of those seeds had disappeared. He was very disturbed, so he decided to make his own seed collection, which grew into a business. So I can say, wow, kol hakavod, wow, good job. So they have Baker's Creek Seed Company has around 200 farmers. I don't know why the word 2,000 just popped into my head. Maybe that was the number of seeds, I don't know, but 200 farmers in various regions who grow their seeds for them. Most of those farmers are already certified organic, and those that are not certified organic are requested to do things in an organic way, and they do check up on them. So it is verifiable that the seeds are all organic, open pollinated, and the farmers who farm those seeds actually have an interest in preserving the quality and the seed itself, the plant itself. So those farmers actually care about their seeds. Let me see, what else did she say? There's just so much, and I'm just giving you a very, very short synopsis of this conference. I don't want to speak on it for the number of hours, but it was just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So she talked about the importance of saving and sharing seeds. So just as the previous speakers of the conference had mentioned, sharing seeds is important. Plants, they lose their vitality over time, and you want to increase the gene pool mix. So share your seeds, share them. You grow a plant, somebody grows a plant, let's say it's the same variety, 2 different yards, 2 different environments. You take some of their seeds, they take some of your seeds. Share your seeds, share them. You get a bunch of seeds, spread them about. Start a seed library. She was mentioning that if you want to start a seed library in your area, a lot of seed companies will donate seeds for your library. And basically, somebody loan out seeds, and they make a promise to return the seeds to you, at the end of the season when they have their own seeds from that plant. And if you need more information about how to start a library, contact Baker's Creek. They'll assist you in any way possible. And Shannon also mentioned, about the large seed banks that are spread throughout the world. There's one in Norway. I know that there's one here in Israel. And, there are various other places where you have, I'm sorry, those bees are just so pretty on the lavender. Anyway, so here, maybe I can give you it's that lavender plant right there. Told you the camera's too far away, you can't see. Anyway, so these large seed banks, they're meant for some apocalyptic event where the the world's going to get knocked out, and they have to replant the world. Well, that's all good and wonderful, but the truth is, how are you going to get those seeds? And will those seeds be enough to populate the entire planet and so many things with it? So what she was saying is that it's just more important to have a local seed bank. It's seed libraries, sharing seeds, spread the seeds, save the seeds yourself. Just keep sharing, and getting seeds, save them yourself. That's the best insurance policy against any catastrophe happening, is just knowing that as many people around you as possible have seeds. It's all nice and wonderful that you've got these seed banks. Wow, the world gets destroyed. But honestly, if every community has got seeds, then they do have food security. Because the only way to keep those seeds up is by planting them. You can't save seeds forever. So, as long as you've got seeds planted and, the plants are growing, then you will have that security. Even in the event of catastrophe, because somebody will have seeds in order to replant. So what else did she say? So that was the bulk of it, of what she had to say. Now, Baker's Creek also has a YouTube site. It's named Seed Stories, and they give stories about various seeds that they have, unique seeds, and they tell the back history about those plants, where they come from. So she showed us a video about beta alpha cucumbers, and beta alpha cucumbers originally come from northern Syria, and in the 1920s, 1930s, there was a woman from the beta alpha kibbutz who decided to grow them. She got seeds, she grew them, and they were all open pollinated, of course, because back then all seeds were open pollinated. And she developed a variety that soon grew all over Israel, all over all over the Middle East, actually. And then it found its way into Europe, it found its way into the United States, and it does really well in almost every climate. So Baker's Creek sells those seeds. They're called the beta alpha cucumber. And she showed us the video it was like a 5-minute video on the history of that plant. So afterwards, I went to YouTube, to their YouTube channel. It's called Seed Stories. And oh wow, they've got so many videos and so many different unique plants, where they come from, just the history of the plants. They have over 200 videos, and it was really, really nice. It's the kind of pleasant thing that you'd like to see on YouTube, actually. So that's it for the Heirloom Seed Conference. One of the things that I learned about it, which was really important, is the number of people in Israel who have decided that it's time to go back to natural, traditional farming. They want wholesome, good tasting food. And so many people are finding it important to just have your own home garden, to have a local park that includes growing food. So it's a farm that doesn't necessarily have a farm look. So many community gardens have popped up everywhere. I've been noticing them. I mean, I know of 3 in Tel Aviv just by walking around. I was like, oh, community garden. Oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, of course not, because it wasn't there 2 years ago, and it's there now. And so many more places are developing community gardens. And one thing that was, is very, very evident is that it wasn't just, oh, grow food. It was, let's get back to the natural variety. Let's get back to the natural way of doing things. Let's rebuild and regrow in a wholesome, natural way. So that was really, really nice. I was hoping that that's what I would see at this conference. I was hoping that that's what I would find, and I did. So I'm really, really happy about that. Really happy. So this concludes my synopsis of the Israel Heirloom Seed Conference. And I think it's just going to get better from here. Until next time.